GM, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Sunday, the 2nd of February. Let's get straight into the analysis. And obviously, we saw a monthly close for Bitcoin on Friday, and that came in at 102,400. So we can see that obviously this market is starting to pull back over the last couple of days. We're down to just above 98,000 currently on Bitcoin. And people are starting to say that this cycle has topped. People are starting to say that it's all over, sell everything. Obviously, with the market being as red as this, it's quite a concern that the market has not been able to really turn around and push on. I'm basically going to show you why I still believe that there is further upside to come this year in this market, even though a lot of people are starting to get sort of very nervous right now. As we can see on the daily, Bitcoin starting to lose a 50-day moving average, already lost a 20-day moving average. Just remember that on the weekend, volatility is low, volume's less, and therefore this market can be pushed around by market makers a lot more easily. So I do feel that is likely what we're seeing today. We've got some data here from Eric Crown that he shared, just saying that Bitcoin February lows are usually early within the month. And we can see that in many cases, the lows have come on the first day. That's one, two, three, in 4 cases out of 13, the lows have come on the first day, which is pretty compelling. After that, we had lows on the sort of first 10 days of the month on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 occasions. So again, am I getting too worried? Not right now. I do expect February to be a bullish month. And certainly if we look at the performance of Bitcoin, just going over to CoinGlass, we can see that quarter one historically is the second most bullish quarter for Bitcoin after quarter four. So we are expecting Q1 to be good. If we look at 2021, when we had the last post-halving year, we saw a gain of over 100% in Q1. And if we look at 2017, we saw a gain of 11%. But then obviously this was a cycle that started to ramp up a lot more aggressively, a lot later on in the year. And potentially that's something that we're going to see in this cycle. As I've been saying, we are resembling 2017 currently more closer than we are resembling 2021. And just going back to Ethereum as well, we can see also decent gains in quarter one. Quarter one is the most bullish quarter for Ethereum, followed by quarter two. So tends to be a bit of a lag on Ethereum performance compared to Bitcoin. We can see that 2017, the cycle that we are more closely resembling, was up. Ethereum was up over 500%. Obviously, you can say that is in Ethereum's first year trading as an asset. So obviously volatility is much, much higher. But I'm trying to make the point here that Ethereum is going through its most bullish quarter and it has its most second quarter to come as well. So if we just look at the monthly returns, obviously Bitcoin monthly returns plus 9%. The average is plus 3.8%. And if we look at the average for February, it's actually higher at plus 14%. Obviously, we're currently down 3.4% for Bitcoin. And on Ethereum, we can see that January is usually the most positive month, actually second most, no, actually not the most positive month. We can see February returns tend to be a little bit more muted, but then we've got the most bullish months coming. It's actually May. And before that, it's sort of March, April. So kind of March, April, May, you'd expect to really, really see Ethereum outperform. Obviously, a bit of an outlier in terms of not getting outperformance last month. But February, March, I would really expect Ethereum to start to pick up. So that's a sort of high-level overview just in terms of the data. And we can then sort of use this and sort of say, well, if we do see downside early on in February, that probably does present us with an opportunity to buy. I know for a lot of people that feels very, very hard to do right now. It's very painful. People are starting to look at their portfolios, worried that we're going into a crypto bear market, but I do not believe that to be the case. I believe this is probably one more shakeout, one more low before much, much, much more upside for the rest of this year. If we actually go back to our path, we can see that I had drawn this path in coming down to just under 97,000, and I'm still thinking we might actually get there. If we actually look at a our other Bitcoin chart, which actually has the Fibonacci analysis on it, then this is all getting a little bit messy. Let's just tidy this up somewhat. But we can see that we've actually got just below 97,000 is our 618. So I'm thinking that Bitcoin may well come down just below 97,000, providing one last shakeout, find some support there and start to turn around. Obviously, we know what is impacting this market right now. It's the talk around tariffs, Donald Trump putting tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. Canada have already retaliated by putting tariffs on US goods. So we've got a trade war going on. Obviously, this impacts the stock market. The stock market is correlated with crypto. That is why we're seeing crypto show weakness today. Over the weekend, obviously, traditional markets are closed over the weekend, but a lot of the time we can see a weekend move on low volume reverse heavily in the week. And I have to think that that is definitely on the cards. If we look at the Bitcoin futures chart, the CME futures chart, we can see we did close at 102,000, and currently we're going to be, this does often trade at a bit of a premium to the spot price. But if we look at where we are around about 98,000, we're going to be sort of opening as it stands down here, sort of around 98, maybe just above. And that is going to leave us with a open gap, which usually those gaps do get filled. So I think in any case, there is probably an opportunity to run Bitcoin back up from this weekend sell-off towards that open gap. And I'll be very surprised if traders, if smart money does not start to step into this market over the course of this afternoon and potentially push us back up towards the 100K level. Obviously, this is a key level. We'd obviously held these levels around about sort of 99,000 to 100,000 as resistance. We've got above it. Each time we've got above it, we've come back below. Last time we held above it. Will we be able to hold tonight's close above it? That's what I'd really like to see. Just looking at the weekly chart, we can see here how we've got a couple of candle body closes around this level that we're currently at, around 98 and a half thousand. It would be great if we can actually see us push back up above 100,000 for the weekly close. Obviously, a couple of $1,000 Bitcoin can definitely do over the course of an afternoon, over the course of a few minutes, let alone a few hours. So I'm not too concerned right now. We are still right on track. And I think really it's what's happening with the altcoins that is starting to get to people, is really starting to cause a lot of panic and a lot of fear, just because alts are really underperforming. We can see Bitcoin dominance still showing some strength here. I am expecting this to come down over the next few weeks and months, but obviously right now this the fact that Bitcoin is going down and Bitcoin dominance is remaining strong means that altcoins are bleeding relative to Bitcoin. And I think the majority of us people in crypto anyway are positioned more heavily into alts than we are into Bitcoin. So it is tough, it is painful. I'm definitely feeling it myself. So if I'm feeling it, I'm sure many of you out there are feeling it. But what I want to really say, the message I really want to get across is do not lose all hope at this stage. This is a point of real maximum opportunity for the rest of this year if we are to remain bullish. Of course, Ethereum showing some weakness as well. Ethereum for me could trade all the way down to sort of 2,800, 2,900 and sort of flush this low. And then that might be what Ethereum needs to see to really pick up and get going and turn bullish over the rest of this year. I mean, looking at where we are right now, obviously we broke about above this trend line. This was a fake out. We've actually now rejected this. We've rejected the 50-day moving average, and it looks like we potentially want to play ping pong between the 100-day and the 200-day. Sorry, the 50-day and the 200-day. Potentially, we will come down to 2,900 if we don't hold support there. Expected to go a bit lower. Obviously, this would coincide with Bitcoin coming down into the mid 90s most likely. So let's see where we go from here. But yeah, I think you're in this market and you're struggling to know what to do right now. You're not the only one. Obviously, sort of I would be more worried if this price action was happening without the tariff talk. I think when you see sort of this divergence between news and fundamentals, then that's often a cause for concern. So the fact we've got some very, very negative, scary news headlines and prices are going down, that's okay for me. That's not anything to be overly worried about because obviously when those headlines pass and people start to move on and forget about them, obviously at any point Trump could strike up a deal with Canada, China, Mexico to alleviate or lift these tariffs or reduce these tariffs. Then obviously we could see risk go back on very, very quickly. And obviously, Trump is Mr. Art of the deal himself. So of course, it's just really surviving right now. It's surviving this volatility, and I think it is. If you have spare capital, not a bad time to look to probably position in or add. If you don't, or if you're on leverage, or if you're, sort of maxed out, I think the main thing to do is just to hold here and not get shaken out of your bags at this moment in time. This, for me, is not how market cycles top. Obviously, local tops, yes, we can see there was a local top, all the hype around Trump coming into office. Obviously, the market struggled to push on. It's come down. Had to consolidate a bit more. But in terms of there being a larger cycle top, what we have to remember is that the dollar is relatively strong right now. Interest rates are relatively high. If we get any inkling, if we see any downtick in inflation, then best believe the market will go back to pricing in rate cuts again. If the economy starts to slow down, if the job market starts to come in a bit weak, the market will very, very quickly start to price in rate cuts, and we will go back to the upside, likely to new all-time highs on stocks and crypto very, very quickly. So that for me is the shift that I'm waiting for. Is waiting for the Fed to shift from hawkish to dovish. It's waiting for the Fed to shift from QT to neutral, then to QE. I do think that shift is likely to take place later on this year. And for that reason, I don't see this market fully topping out here, just due to the macro. The fact that the macro is currently negative, the fact that rates are high and that we're still in QT, this is usually not when we see cycle tops put in, because of course there's plenty of room there for the Fed to go back to more, stimulating policy, to launch more expansive monetary policy. And I would have thought these markets were top when we've seen that expansive monetary policy get fully priced in, and asset prices are a lot higher when that expansive monetary policy has then started again, which will likely happen this year. So again, I think it is really just the case of surviving this. Things are probably going to get scary, especially if Bitcoin comes down and trades a bit lower here. But yeah, it's just about, sort of keeping in the game for me anyway at this point. Obviously, traditional markets closed right now, but the dollar has ticked up. Dollar coming in, currently testing 20-day moving average. So I'm still of the belief that we've likely seen a top here for the dollar on the weekly. What I really want to see is us lose this 107.3 level on the dollar to come back into this sort of sideways trading range here. This would be a deviation, and likely if that happened, the dollar would then run back down to the low of the range, probably coming down towards the 100 level. So that is something that I think we will potentially see take place over the next few weeks. But of course, it's not going to be a straight move down there. There's going to be some drop. There's going to be some shakeouts. There's going to be some, sort of positioning around these levels, and it might take a few more weeks for this to actually play out, for us to get this breakdown in the dollar. And of course, it all ties into what's going on with interest rates, what's going on with inflation, the job market, the economy, etc. So that's something to watch. But certainly it's hard to think there is going to be a cycle top in crypto, and we're going to see this dollar drop with crypto markets putting in a cycle top. That's just historically not how this works. If we look at the S&P as well, obviously decent weekly candle in terms of getting the sell-off but being bought back up. But obviously on Friday we did sell off and we did close quite an ugly looking candle, kind of back towards the low of the range that we were in for the majority of last week. So let's see if we can find some support. Maybe we come into these moving averages on the S&P and then look to try a decent bounce from there. Nasdaq as well, similar story really. Big reversal closing the open gap, but big reversal on Friday and sort of resting just above these moving averages. So yeah, let's see how we shape up into Monday. Look, I think just going back to Bitcoin here, like I say, very worrying and concerning. A lot of people really struggling. Like I say, it's mainly due to what we are seeing on the altcoin market and Bitcoin dominance remaining strong. But there's plenty of good sayings out there. Things are often darkest before dawn, and I do still think that we have a chance to turn around today and the weekly close. If we can get back above 100K, that will start to look a little bit more positive. And going into Monday, I think if you're in positions, if you're in trades here, you just need to really wait it out for these next few days and see how the week starts and see where we are by the middle of this week, because a lot can turn around very, very quickly, especially when the traditional markets open, the ETFs are back open. Potentially, we get some buying coming in from those, and yeah, I don't think the cycle is over just yet. So remain patient, try and remain calm. It's a Sunday, maybe try and get yourself out and not be too focused on things for the rest of today. And let's see how tonight closes and the week opens up. Of course, I understand it's very stressful. I'm getting a lot of messages and seeing a lot of things in a lot of groups where people are, just wanting to sell everything and run away from this market and never ever look at it again. I'm really, really witnessing what is complete capitulation from people right now in this market, and it's understandable. I get it. But this is the time. You don't want to be in a situation where you sell out all of your bags here and then you come back and you look at this market in 6 months and you've got Bitcoin trading at 150,000, you've got Ethereum trading at, 7,000, you've got Solana up at sort of 400, $500. Because you'd be absolutely kicking yourself. You would have got, a 2x on a few of these things. Probably altcoins would be up a 3 to 5x. I think, let's wait for confirmation that this is a cycle top. How would we have confirmation that it is a cycle top? It would probably be breaking below these lows here at 90,000 and then starting to fall down potentially towards 73. And from there, there'd be a real question as to whether Bitcoin can recover, or from there whether we're just going to be talking about things like higher lows to try and sell into. And yeah, potentially at that point things would be looking like a cycle top. But for now, I think it's prudent to or sensible to be prudent and just assess things when the market's open in a couple of days, and kind of go from there. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to finish it there. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.